You want to support Roland Martin Unfiltered? Be sure to join our Bring the Funk fan club. Every dollar that you give to us supports our daily digital show. There's only one daily digital show out here that keeps it black and keep it real as Roland Martin Unfiltered. Support the Roland Martin Unfiltered daily digital show by going to RolandMartinUnfiltered.com. You can make this possible.
There was a November 2017 article in Vanity Fair I read a couple of years ago that really explains how ignorant Trump and his people are. To prepare for the go to my iPad, please. To prepare for the transition after the 2016 election, the USDA staff had created elaborate briefings for the incoming Trump administration. The written material alone came with 2,300 pages in 13 volumes. A lot of people who work in the Department of Agriculture grew up on or around farms. They like to think of the Department of Agriculture as a nice, down-to-earth bureaucracy. They consider themselves more bipartisan, less ideological than people at the other federal agencies. Quote, "Our plan was to be as hospitable as possible," said one of the transition planners. "We made sure the office space was gorgeous. To make the Trump people feel at home, the USDA people had set aside the nicest rooms on the top floor of the nicest building with the nicest view of the National Mall. They had fished out of storage the most beautiful photographs from the USDA's impressive collection and hung them on the walls. They had brought in computers and office supplies and organized a bunch of new workstations. When they heard that Joe Leftwich, the guy Trump wanted to lead his USDA transition team, had been a lobbyist for PepsiCo, they brought in a mini fridge stocked with Pepsis. That was just the way they were at the USDA. They didn't think how the fucking people paid to push sugary drinks on American kids be let anywhere near the federal department with the most influence on what American kids eat. Instead, they thought, I hear he's a nice guy." No one showed up that first day after the election or the next. This was strange. The day after he was elected, Obama had sent his people into the USDA, as had Bush. At the end of the second day, the folks at the Department of Agriculture called the White House to ask what was going on. The White House said they'll be here Monday. On Monday morning, they worked themselves up all over again into a welcoming spirit. Again, no one showed. Now, for the entire week, on November 22nd, Leftwich made a cameo appearance for about an hour. Quote, "We had thought rural America is who got Trump elected, so he'll have to make us a priority." But then nothing happened. The USDA did not respond to questions from Vanity Fair. Wow. They didn't give a damn about these people, right. And this was the first month of his presidency.
Right. I mean, first of all, appointing someone to that position is all about, like, a friend who needed a job that you were expecting. You know, people have expectations if I helped you out. But I think the important thing here is that when we think about rural America, and especially poor white folks in this country have always voted against their economic interests, right? Because of race. Right? Racism has been the driving force. They don't care that, you know, we're not getting our food stamps, we're not getting health care. We actually don't want to be in the same boat with y'all.
No health care, no dental care, bad education, no food. But then we ain't with y'all.
And guess what? It doesn't matter if this all happens, they're going to vote for him again. Because it's like, it is the thing of, I don't want to be with you all, and part of what's happening with you all, I don't want to be with black folks, right? And our narrative around poor people in this country is a black narrative, right? White folks and the media has trumped, I hate to say that word, has come up with this story around poor people being black. Not true, mostly white, right? But they, again, are always going to vote against their interests, their economic interests, because they would instead rather be with white folks. And also with Trump, like, oh, maybe I can be like him. You know, I can be like him. He's had failed businesses. I've had failed businesses. He's got no money, but he's ignorant. And he became president anyway. So there's a little bit of, I see him in me, and I aspire to be that instead of being with black folks.
Greg, well, this is why I have said, Reverend Barber talked about this all the time as well, this is why Democrats have to, one, stop being scared of broke-ass white people and go to broke-ass white people and say, yo ass broke.
That's right.
Your schools are broke. You broke. You ain't got no food. Guess what? LBJ launched the war on poverty to some broke-ass white people in West Virginia. He was not in Mississippi Delta. Democrats have got to be willing. Look, I told Obama to his face, man, stop going to damn suburban areas touting the Affordable Care Act. Go to the brokest, sickest part of Mississippi and Alabama and say, I passed this damn law for y'all. Yes. To me, that's where Democrats, if you want to sit here and hit Trump, go to those places. Those coal miners who Mitch McConnell wouldn't meet with. Right. Put them on, if you Joe Biden, put them at a table with you and tell the media, come on in. Bring in, do the same thing to these broke white folks. All the broke white folks who say, oh, he's going to help us with opioids, do the exact same thing. They have to be willing to tell them to their face, yo ass broke.
That's right.
I just want to let you know that.
Roland, I think this would very easily fit into another Roland Breaks Down, except this time Roland breaks down electoral strategies. And that is, again, why people need to donate to Roland Martin Unfiltered, because this is the only place on a daily basis where we're not just breaking down race issues. This is the elevated conversation about something that may ultimately be unsolvable.
And the cable networks ain't discussing it.
No,
they still stuck on
well, they can't discuss it because the same people on cable networks are the ones behind this BS. I mean, that's why I really do appreciate Director Brown and you all's report and the We Vote, We Count report, because you're getting at the heart of this question. As far as I'm concerned, you know, and you know, at my age, I'm just old enough to have worked on Jesse Jackson's first campaign in '84, where he went to Appalachia, where he went to the West. This is why Bernie Sanders stand up. You know, these young people now, Bernie Sanders, no.
That's been done before.
Exactly, many times before. What you say, this is Ron Walters laying this electoral strategy out in the 70s. This is the Congressional Black Caucus from the late '60s. We were just talking about Mervyn Donnelly and before. I mean, this is the whole point. But as far as I'm concerned, and then beginning to read the report, and I can't wait to hear you talk about this, because this is a valiant effort to try to persuade these people to embrace our common humanity. But quite frankly, there is no we in this country. There has never been a we in this country. And I don't even put this on Trump, because when you look at the map of people who will be affected by these changes, and there are 3 changes, by the way. The third of those changes is the ones that say, and in fact, this here says, the rule would also prevent households with more than $2,250 in assets, or $3,500 for a household with a disabled adult from receiving food stamps. That's the one that would throw 1 million children off of reduced or free lunch in the schools. These people, this hasn't been just driven by race hate, because this is these poor whites. You're absolutely right. When you look at the map of the people who are going to be affected, it is surgical. The Northeast states, California with 12% of the homeless population, a couple of states in the South, Georgia being one, but you see the least affected states are those Midwestern states. Although people will be affected, clearly this is electoral politics.
Oh, look,
this is a plutocracy that is trying to break the back of the citizens of this country and drain all the wealth of, like you said, $1.9 trillion tax cut, $1.6 trillion in student debt. Heard Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on Capitol Hill today, assailing this Steve Mnuchin, another criminal who got away with all kind of stuff out there in California. They are draining the public coffers, and they don't give, not only don't they give a damn about anybody in this country, they are depending on the race hate that you're talking about to allow them to get away with this.
And don't forget, the tax cut specifically targeted blue states.
That's right.
Yep.
This does too.
And they were public.
That's exactly right.
It hit hit the blue states.
That's why all Republicans lost in California.
That's right.
Yeah.
Because the people like, oh, y'all asses went along with this?
But watch this, Roland.
But
they didn't, let me just very quick, Julie. When you see, they couldn't get this through in the Congress, because the farm state representatives with the liberals always said no. So what did this?
I mean, we had Janice Mathis on here discussing it when it was going through the hearing.
Y'all got to support this place. It's the only place talking about this. So what did this man, who is clogging his veins every day with fast food, do? He makes an executive order so that people who can't get 20 hours a week working fast food in these places, so they can't qualify for food stamps, can't get their food stamps. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You know, the other thing is that Republicans are always talking about fiscal responsibility. They're always talking about balancing the budget. 45 has essentially knocked the budget all out of whack, not only for this year, but it's a 10-year trajectory. So even if a good Democrat gets in, the first thing they're going to have to do is tackle the issue of debt. And that means that their hands are going to be tied based on some of the legislation that's passed about how much increase the Pentagon and war should get, based on some of the other things that they've done. So he has really tied the hands of the next administration and the one after that.
And they don't give a damn. I mean, let's just be real clear. They don't care. Eugene, again, this to me is one of those issues where Democrats got to be real specific. I'm talking about if you're running for president, if you are Biden, Buttigieg, Warren, Klobuchar, Booker, and other 15 people still hanging around, Castro, they have to be specific, Eugene, with the language. That Sanders, I'm telling y'all, I told Bernie Sanders to his face,
Yes, sir.
in a meeting in his office a year ago, so let me be real clear, all you punk asses out there who on YouTube talking about who I'm supporting, no, I check everybody. Sanders to his face. I talked to Buttigieg 3 times on the phone, twice in the past 2 months. Talk to Harris, text Booker, don't act like I ain't there. I told Bernie Sanders, you have got to go talk to broke-ass white people and say, white people. Don't say working class. You got to say white people. Right. Because, Eugene, that's the only way to slap them in the face to go, when I ain't talking black, Latino, I'm talking to broke white people. That, to me, should be a clear Democratic strategy for 2020.
I agree, right? Especially if the Democrat strategy is going to be, okay, hey, look, we got to target Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, and probably not throwing Georgia and Arizona in there as well. If you're quote-unquote swing voter that you're targeting are broke white people, or as politically correctly stated, working class white people, you got to go in there bluntly and bluntly have the conversation. And if you're unwilling to, or if a candidate is unwilling to, I think you need to check the credibility of the candidate. Campaigning 101 is being able to have the conversations, the blunt conversations with voters to earn their vote.
But my point is this here. Don't come talk to black people and feel comfortable saying black.
Yeah.
But you don't want to go in front of white people, Judith, and say white.
Right.
And I mean, somebody has to say to white voters.
Right.
Because if you stand in front of women and say women voters, and you stand in front of gay folks and say LGBTQ, if you stand in front of black people and say black, Latino, damn it, stand in front of white folks and say, listen up, white voters. See, to me, you got to be explicit, because broke white people have not been called out, and they've danced around, working class, real America, all those terms.
But that's because they want to make them different, right? It's like, don't want to be in the same pool with y'all, so we're working class, y'all poor black folks.
That's right.
So this is the divisive politics that have always existed in this country. And while I think, yes, the Democratic Party needs to go out there and do that, I also want to say that this wouldn't be the first time that it has been tried, and that it may fail again, right?
But here's the piece. Even if it fails, the fact that you do it, here's what may happen. You actually might wake up some broke white folks.
Oh, that's true.
But the point is, if you never say it, they just walking around like, we good. You're like, no, you're not.
That's what Reverend Jackson did.
Right.
He went to,
and that's what the Poor People's Campaign is.
Exactly.
Look, they've gone to Kansas, Idaho, the hills of North Carolina, West Virginia, Kansas, Mississippi, and they have been very explicit. They've been saying, broke white people.
Well, Reverend Barber,
we all broke.
Is a genius in terms of how he's constructed the New Poor People's Campaign, in terms of his co-chair, Liz Theo-Harris, a white woman minister. I mean, he basically is fighting for the soul of America. So if you say there's no us.
Well, there's no us, and America has no soul.
But he is fighting for.
Well, no, he's trying to create a soul for America. And here's something I think we haven't stated enough in this. And this goes back to the 19th century. You think about the Know Nothing Party, the nativist movements in the 1920s and 30s. There is a fetishization of ignorance in this country. So when we talk about the common people, there's this elevation of this idea that I'm dumb, I'm stupid, I'm proud. And when you feel, no, seriously. And so, so in other words, because as you were talking, I'm thinking, which of these candidates in the Democratic primary has really began to gesture toward that? Immediately I thought of Elizabeth Warren. Because Warren talks about, her mama had to put the dress on, go get a job, and her daddy had the heart attack, and then she had a baby, and they got rid of her. And I'm thinking, that should resonate, but here's Warren's flaw. She's intelligent.
Right.
See, these white people want to be dumb. So when Stacey Abrams is telling them, if we give them $1, the federal government's going to give us 9 back and your hospital doesn't close, they can't hear that because she went to college. In other words, whiteness and dumbness
Sustain.
confused.
So do we have to find
Sustain.
the candidate?
Yes! Well, no. Reverend Barber, that's why I agree with you, is genius. Barber is as intelligent as any human being walking the planet. But the way he crafts his message, he can resonate because he doesn't come off like that. I don't know that a person who comes off as smart can ever convince these stupid white people to do anything.
And you're right, because first of all, with Warren, they're going to say, well, you taught at Harvard.
Exactly.
And you see, but again, perfect example, because you talk about, let me find it. You talk about how dumb works. Perfect example. So after you had the hearing yesterday, you had this fool from Texas. Damn, I hate he graduated from Texas A&M. I don't think he even graduated. Louis Gohmert.
Oh my God.
But I want to show. But I'll show you dumb. They had a news conference, and when it was over, Louis Gohmert came out there, and I'm trying to find it. He came out there and he says essentially, whatever y'all do, don't send your kids to Harvard or Yale. Every damn Republican who is on that Supreme Court,
Come on, brother.
from Harvard or Yale.
That's right.
Then somebody on Twitter named all of the damn folks in Congress who Republicans who went to Harvard or Yale Law School. But again, so they play this, all these elitists, when they got the same elitists sitting over there, and Trump always touting how, he got his Ivy Leagues from the Wharton School of Business, Penn, Ivy League.
My alma mater.
And he really did.
Right.
He did
Well,
not
he
get.
bought that
He
Wharton.
did not.
It is. Hold up. Here it is. Again.
Well, it's
Wharton.
This is playing to stupid. Go to my iPad.
So all I got to say is, if you love America, mamas, don't let your babies grow up to go to Harvard or Stanford Law School.
Wow.
Right there. No, but to Greg's point, they are.
And Texas A&M is a major research university.
And not only that, Texas A&M is an extremely conservative university.
Yes.
And I'm sitting there going, fool. But here's the deal. Them same, and here's the piece. Them same broke white people, I'm telling you, when they challenged the Hopwood decision, the reason, how the top 10% got passed in Texas?
Right.
The black and Latino legislators.
Break it down, brother.
I was there. Got with the white rural legislators who were upset because the white kids from rural Texas were not being accepted at the University of Texas or at Texas A&M, the two major institutions in Texas. So the black and Latino legislators got with the broke rural white legislators and said, we're going to create the top 10 rules. So if your kid graduates in the top 10% of your high school class, regardless of the high school, you are automatically admitted to the state institutions. And guess what? It was the suburban legislators who went there and said, no, okay, we're getting too many kids, who changed this top 10% in Texas to limit it to the top, only like 50% of the class. Oh, so they changed it because what happened was Texas was saying, and we're losing too many of our bright students. No, it was saying we're losing too many of our bright white students. Who were not in the top 10%, and their white parents were saying, well, my child goes to Austin Westlake, and which is more rigorous than O.D. Wyatt, the black high school in Fort Worth. So it's unfair that the valedictorian and O.D. Wyatt automatically get admitted, but my kid doesn't, and that's how they got the rule changed. But the point is, the black and Latino legislators went to the white folks and said, y'all kids ain't getting in either. That's the point I'm making. You gotta go
find that common ground.
You gotta go to them and say, y'all broke too.
That's right.
Y'all hungry too. So that's why if I'm a Democrat, I ain't bringing no black or Latino person impacted by SNAP. I'm going to roll up a whole bunch of broke, hungry white people. And I'm going to hold news conferences with them. I'm telling you, that's what you do. Because it's the same thing I've been... Look, when affirmative action is always under attack, I put on when ran the Chicago Defender, I put a white woman on the front page. I said, I need y'all to say something. Because every time affirmative action came under attack, it was black folks who was out front, Latinos right behind us, and the white women were off camera getting most of the contracts.
Exactly.
I'm like, no, bring your ass in front of the camera, stand right here and fight for this because you're getting the most contracts.
Right.
If you're going to be explicit in talking to us, damn it, be explicit in talking to them.
That's right.
And that's why I think where Democrats have failed.
All right, folks, back to our Roland Martin Unfiltered video in just one moment.
Fam, it's holiday season. This is when you think about spending time with your family and friends. This is also when you count your blessings and support those less fortunate. This year, become a holiday hero and change someone's life forever. Right now, hundreds of thousands of Americans are sitting in jail without being convicted of a crime. Why? Because they can't pay their bail. Think about it. If you are arrested for any minor offense and you go to jail, if you don't have the money, you got to stay there until a court date is scheduled. That could be weeks, it could be days, weeks, or even months. Some black folks were there for years. Simply put, America's bail system is broken for people of color. Freedom should be free, folks. That's why the Ebony Foundation is partnered with the Bail Project and is sponsoring the Home by the Holiday campaign. The Bail Project has helped bail out thousands of people over the years, and with your help, they plan to bail out 1,000 people by New Year's Day. What they want you to do is make a donation anywhere from $25, $50 to $50 or more to do so. Now, of course, people of color represents anywhere from 50 to 90% of the jail population across the country. Now, check this out. Without bail, nearly 90% of those charged with misdemeanors plead guilty because they're trying to get out. However, when bail is paid, less than 2% receive a jail sentence. Sometimes justice just need us. If you want to donate, folks, and help the Ebony Foundation, go to homebytheholiday.com. That's homebytheholiday.com.
Now back to your Roland Martin Unfiltered video.